The Super Eagles of Nigeria soar into Russia 2018, their sixth World Cup in the last 7 cycles, only behind rivals Cameroon on most number of appearances for Africa at the World Cup. Nigeria are already the African team with the most amount of appearances in the knockout phases at 3, coming in 1994, 1998, and 2014. They will look to make it 4 from 6 this summer. And speaking of their neighbors Cameroon, Nigeria topped a difficult qualifying group this cycle, containing the indomitable Lions, current African champions, and also previous World Cup participants Algeria. Needless to say, it was predicted to be the group of death in African qualifying, with 3 prior World Cup participants in each of the last 2 editions, but Nigeria topped it comfortably with 2 match days to go after a thumping 4-0 victory at home against Cameroon catapulted Nigeria into the World Cup after they closed off against group surprises Zambia. Nigeria remains on fire on current form, and they head into the World Cup scandal-free, without any tensions between the players and the FA or any payment disputes of that matter. This will also be the youngest squad heading to the World Cup, as Nigeria's players average anywhere between the ages of 20 and 24, particularly up front, with players such as Alex Iwobi, Kelechi Iheanacho, as well as options in midfield such as Ogachenko Etebo and Wilfred Ndidi. You can really see where Nigeria's youth comes from. There will be a question over whether the Eaglets will be able to contend in a rigorous World Cup group containing Argentina, Croatia, and Iceland, but if their current form is any indicator, they should pose as a serious threat for anyone that stands in their way. And speaking of Argentina, Nigeria has quite a history with Argentina in the World Cups. 5 of the last 6 World Cups, every single one that Nigeria has participated in since 1994, they have been grouped with Argentina at the first round, losing each and every one of those encounters by a 1-goal margin, incredibly. Scorelines is 1-0, 2-1, and most notably 3-2, as in the last World Cup in Brazil. Nigeria and Argentina tends to produce really exciting fixtures in World Cups, and this one should be no less the same, considering that Nigeria previously lambasted Argentina 4-2 in a November friendly in 2017. Nigeria have yet again been gifted another opportunity for revenge as they play Argentina in their last group game, just as they did 4 years ago. And with the fact that Argentina is not quite the same without Messi and barely crossed the finish line in qualification, this presents Nigeria with their best chance to get one over, finally, on La Albiceleste. The most important match in this group for Nigeria will be the opener against Croatia, as it will play a handy role in who comes through the group. They are captained by John Obi Mikel, who has really come into his own in recent years, and they will see the bulk of their creativity in midfield come through Victor Moses, most likely, of Chelsea. And although the young stars such as Alex Iwobi will be players to look out for this summer, I'm going to keep a keen eye on Ahmed Musa. The 25-year-old player for CSK Moskva was really impressed with what he did in the last World Cup, scoring a couple of goals for Nigeria in the game against Argentina. And I think that he will play the most essential role for them to get into the latter rounds of this tournament. Recent friendly results for Nigeria include a 2-0 loss to Serbia, a 1-0 win over Poland, a 3-2 loss to Atletico Madrid, and a 1-1 draw with the Democratic Republic of Congo. They meet England on June 2nd and the Czech Republic on June 6th, all before their first group encounter with the Croats. Now, their last 3 or 4 friendlies may have be an indicator of a slip in form, but it's something that we may not want to read too much into at the current moment. Manager Gernot Rohr has been with these players long enough and seems to have a more familiarity with this team than Lars Lagerbäck did when he guided the Super Eagles to the 2010 World Cup. Some have selected Nigeria as a potential dark horse for this tournament to get to the quarterfinals, and if they were to advance from this rigorous group, a likely rematch against France at the same stage in 2014 gives the Super Eagles yet another opportunity for revenge against better opposition. But if they were to come up against the Danes, another revenge story, 1998, Peru, Australia, I feel all of those are winnable fixtures. So if Nigeria can click in time and carry their form over from qualification, why not? Why can't they finish in the last 8? The low point of not qualifying for the 2017 African Cup of Nations, at the very least, seems to be put well behind Nigeria now as they look to move forward and begin a new chapter in their history. Nigeria has had a little bit of difficulty translating championship success at the youth level in the under-17s and under-20 into senior men's national team success. But since this is going to be the youngest team at the World Cup, this will finally be time for Nigeria to prove the world wrong and show that a successful transition can happen, because they do have a wide net of talent to choose from within the country. And it is no surprise that Nigeria are multiple-time under-17 world champions. A concern will be their relative flirtation with inconsistency, as last seen in these recent friendly results, but it is my belief that when Nigeria is at its peak form, they are the finest national team in Africa.